As you sit there hearing these words, you may begin to notice a shift, a feeling, a sensation, an awareness. Because isn't it interesting how sometimes, when we least expect it, a new way of seeing simply appears? You see, there was a woman once, and she loved to garden, and when she gardened, she just knew what plants needed, how to nourish the soil, how to bring it into just the right balance. And isn't it fascinating how the mind is like a garden? Some thoughts, some patterns. They're like seeds. Some grow strong. Others, like weeds, they try to take over. But the gardener, the one who knows, understands how to cultivate the space. And perhaps as you think about that now, you might begin to wonder, what else is possible? Because after all, children already know. They don't think about it, they live it. They're the territory itself. They don't see a cat and think, this is a cat. They become the cat. They step into that space where there are no boundaries, where imagination and reality flow together, where all things are connected. And maybe you've known this feeling before, haven't you? A time when you lost yourself in something completely, when you forgot where you ended and the world began. And as you begin to remember that feeling, you can notice how easy it is to reconnect, to step into it fully. Because what if change is just like that? What if transformation isn't about struggling or fighting, but simply remembering, stepping into a new frame, a new way of seeing, a new way of being? And some might say, well, but what about the problem? But it's fascinating how problems, they change when your perspective shifts. Because when Robert Diltz's mother was told, because of cancer, you've 2 years, what if she'd accepted that frame? But she didn't. Instead, she stepped into a new possibility, a remission, a new mission. And just like that, you can begin to realize, whatever challenge, whatever situation, whatever belief you once thought was fixed, it's actually fluid, malleable. Because isn't it true, everything we believe is just a map? And isn't it also true, the maps can be redrawn? And as you think about that now, as you allow that realization to settle deep inside, you might begin to wonder, what would it be like if change were as natural as breathing, as easy as watching a child play, as simple as stepping into a new way of seeing? Because deep down you already know. And now perhaps it's simply time to just remember. And as you sit there, letting these words drift effortlessly into those spaces where they need to, you might begin to wonder how many ways the mind can open. Because isn't it fascinating how perspective shifts just like that? A thought, a realization, a new way of seeing, a door opening, or maybe it was never closed at all. Because what if everything you need has always been there all along, just waiting, like seeds in the soil, ready to bloom the moment the conditions align? And of course the gardener knows this. The gardener doesn't force growth. No, the gardener nurtures. The gardener understands. The gardener creates the conditions and allows nature to do what it already knows how to do. You might ask yourself, what if change isn't something that you do, but something you allow? Because deep inside, beneath the layers of what has been taught, trained, conditioned, there's something untouched, something vast, something infinite. Children know this. They don't question whether they're part of the world. They are the world. They don't separate experience into categories. They don't observe the cat. They become the cat, the tree, the wind. And isn't it interesting how, as we grow older, we learn to draw lines, to divide, to define, to limit. But what happens when you let go of the lines? When you step beyond them? When you remember, you are the territory, not just the map. Because the map is useful, yes, but it's not reality. And sometimes all it takes is a shift, a tilt of perspective, and suddenly, what once seemed fixed becomes fluid. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. And maybe you've already begun to notice that happening now. Maybe you're already starting to feel it, a loosening, a softening, a deep knowing emerging from somewhere beyond words. Because what if you already know exactly what to do? What if, like the gardener, you've always had the wisdom to cultivate your own growth, to nurture what's needed, to remove what no longer serves, to create the conditions where everything aligns naturally, effortlessly. And as you step into that awareness now, imagine for a moment what it would be like if transformation were the most natural thing in the world, because it is. It always has been, and now perhaps simply time to remember.